Thank you, Jason.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. So, Staten Island. About 23% of people voted for you in general. Obviously, they care about affordability, as you said, leading borough for union households. Why do you think the support for you was so low here, and how do you hope to improve that?
I think right now is an opportunity for me to introduce myself as I am and the focus of what my administration will be. Because it's very much in line with, I know, what many Staten Islanders care deeply about, which is their ability to not only afford to live in New York City, but also to build a life in New York City. Those are two separate things, because too often people are able to scrape by to be here to survive, and then when they decide they want to raise a family, whereas Staten Island used to be a place where they could buy a home and do so, now it's feeling increasingly out of reach, where a lot of people who would have otherwise lived in Staten Island now live in New Jersey or on Long Island. And I think right now, especially with the announcement of our ever-growing team, this is that moment to show Staten Islanders that their concerns are going to be front of mind in our administration, and also that we're going to actually deliver on those concerns.
That idea of buying a home, obviously people move here for a more suburban, bucolic lifestyle. Building more housing seems to be in direct conflict with that, in my mind at least. How do you hope to bridge that divide? Where do you hope to find common ground for people who do want to live around fewer people with the need for more housing in the city?
Well, I think we haven't even exhausted the opportunities in front of us of people who want more housing in their immediate neighborhood than to even have to get beyond that, frankly. I think we're still at a point where I've had a number of legislators come up to me and ask me if we can please build the 200,000 affordable homes that we've spoken about just in their district alone. And so I think that there's no doubt there will be difficult conversations to be had as we try and balance all the different things that are needed in our city. I think the goal that we have, however, is that no New Yorker be priced out of living in this city because of a lack of that housing.
You were asked a secession question earlier today. It is taking its latest run through our elected officials locally. How do you hope to convince them that they don't need to leave the city? And if they do ultimately decide that is absolutely what they want, is that something you would support?
I think of Staten Island as a critical part of New York City. You cannot tell the story of 5 boroughs without the story of Staten Island. And as Shaw-Nae actually made clear to me just before we had this interview, this isn't a forgotten borough, it's a borough of many memories. There's so much history right here on this island, and I understand why there are Staten Islanders who would feel that that history is one that hasn't been recognized, because what we've seen time and time again through multiple administrations is that this borough becomes a footnote as opposed to a focus. And what I hope to show through my administration is that we are going to take seriously the concerns of Staten Islanders and deliver on those concerns. We recently held a 12-hour listening session in Astoria at the Museum of the Moving Image, and there were a number of Staten Islanders who came. When I asked them how long it took them, they told me it was 2.5 hours. One of them was telling me how transformative it was when we made the S46 free as part of our Fare Free Bus pilot, and how it allowed her to see her borough in a way that she hadn't, to connect with her friends in a way that she hadn't been able to. Every Staten Islander deserves that for every single bus that they use. And if we want to talk about the difficulty of affording life in the city, we also have to talk about the difficulty of being able to get around this city, because Staten Islanders face that difficulty at a level that many of us do not even understand. And so delivering fast and free buses, delivering public transit that is excellent, that is efficient, that is going to be a focus for Staten Island as well.
At the state level, what do you hope to advocate for in terms of transit, specifically on Staten Island?
I think there's going to be a critical need to work with Albany to fund the fulfillment of making buses fast and free. A lot of the fast comes from infrastructure changes that we can make here in New York City ourselves, but the question of making it free is one that we will have to be working together on. I also think, just speaking about Albany in general, that one of our focuses will be property tax reform. The need to change a property tax system that has been unable to stand up in court because we know that it is unfair. And there are many Staten Islanders who, they may dream of owning a home. The issue might not even be the price of the home, but rather the price of keeping the home. And we have to ensure that we're tackling both of these things together. And one of the things I'm so excited about in the appointment of Leila Bozarg as our Deputy Mayor for Housing and Planning is that we will have someone who is squarely focused on housing, not just the construction of it, but the preservation of it.
The free bus idea, where does the express bus system of the city, where does it fit in that?
I think it is critically important, frankly, because express buses are something that I'm also familiar with as someone who used to work in Bay Ridge and be commuting from Morningside Heights. I would take an express bus time and time again. I think it was the X27 or the 28 from Midtown Manhattan. And I think that we have spoken about a vision for every bus to be fast and free. That's what we're going to be putting forward.
And just lastly, a little light question. Apart from Shaw-Nae's house, what are some of the top restaurants you found on Staten Island? What are you hoping to try?
Well, I have had some great Sri Lankan food on Staten Island. I came a few years ago with some friends. And I also, last time I was on Staten Island, I actually got a little bit of a tour of where George Weah used to live and where Timothy Weah grew up. And I think there's just so many more places that I can be going. And I'm excited to keep coming back to Staten Island because this truly is, it's not an obligation, it's an opportunity. And I'm looking forward to showing that.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, my man.
All right.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
You as well.
Mr. City and State.
So apologies on the
Got it.
We believe this city.